the Warlock, as I can't expect Sintolol to have an easy time with the Warlock against Bunnyhoppor's lineup, so that's really going to be the story of the series as we go on. But the Shaman Mirror coming up now, and this one's really anybody's game. It's hard to say one player has too much of an edge. You know, if we look at the specific deck lists, Bunnyhoppor does have the Harrison Jones, which can make a huge difference, but Sintolol also has the Harrison Jones. So almost card for card identical. One of the big differences is Bunnyhoppor has an Argent Horse Rider over the Bloodlust, and Sintolol has a Ragnaros over a Manatide Totem. Yeah. So just a few changes here and there, but like really only one or two card differences between the lists, so you can expect it to play out really similarly, and whoever kind of gets ahead first usually in these kind of Shaman matchups takes a big snowball lead, and then the other side swipes back with a Storm first, and then they build up a board, and then the other side storms, and then, you know, kind of trade storms back and forth, and then the first player to kind of run out of storms is usually the one that kind of gets rolled over. Yeah, as soon as you can build the board up and your opponent doesn't have an answer to it, you're just so far ahead instantly. You can get in so much extra damage. And look at the opening hands here. Bunnyhoppor not looking too bad. Has the choice of coining out the Golem, which is so commonly the play on turn one. Curve. And he has the follow-up of Spirit Claws, which is the important one. He can just go straight in with that one drop being overloaded. And he gets the overload out of the way for his 3-drop as well with this lineup play. He's able to go coin 2 into 1 and then into 3. Whereas if he went 1, he would go 2 and then coin 3, and it's a little bit more awkward because your Spirit Claws aren't actually accomplishing anything. So this just is a much more smooth way to develop that curve. Meanwhile, Sinto on the other side, it's not looking pretty. It's not looking pretty for the Prince of Underground Hearthstone. No, when the matchup is so forced around the early game and getting ahead, having double Manatide Totem, Rag, and Azure Drake, not really what you're after when your opponent's curving as well as Bunnyhoppor is now. So it's going to be reliant on Bunnyhoppor really, you know, making as much impact he can and getting as much advantage out of being able to start off quickly versus Sintolol's relatively low beginning. And if there's one way to leverage an advantage, it's a Manatide Totem, because if your opponent has no minions on the board, that means they have to use a card or a removal spell from hand to answer a Manatide Totem instead of being able to trade, you know, as Bunnyhoppor just did, a minion in the field, just killing it for free. So you end up pulling ahead in cards because the Manatide gains you a card and then costs a card from your opponent to remove it. So you pull ahead in one card. And that's assuming they kill it on the first turn. If they don't have an answer, you just slowly start, you know, walking away with the game, then jogging away with the game. Then all of a sudden, you're running away with the game, and it gets out of control really quick. Yeah, it's extremely frustrating card to come down in this situation. I hate it. It's just like, not fun for new players, right? It's like, it can't attack me. It's not doing any damage, but it is killing me. Yeah. And it's like, this is horrible. It just stares you down. Yeah. Having double Totem Golem here, though, could be a great turn for Sintolol, just to kind of overload himself, but get himself a huge presence on the board to try and fight back against this Manatide Totem. Yeah, and even with the overload from the Totem Golems, he still has 3 mana available, so if he draws like Lightning Storm, he can still play it and potentially snap back the turn like that as well. So, as you said, not too bad. Some pretty chunky minions there for Sintolol. Bunnyhoppor's turn to now try and answer. He does have Lightning Bolt, and if he could roll Spell Power, it would be pretty nice. I am on the game plan here if I was in Bunnyhoppor's shoes. Save the cheerleader, save the world. So just protect the Manatide Totem for dear life. I would use a Tempo Hex here and, you know, Lightning Bolt plus the Spirit Claws to remove both of my opponent's minions. Just, they've shown that they have no answer for the Manatide, and just keep it trucking and just generate card advantage. But Bunnyhoppor goes with a different line of play, tries to get that... maybe Spell Power Totem was obviously what he's looking for, so the Lightning Bolt would be able to line up, and then he can trade the Spirit Claws plus the Totem Golem in. Or even Taunt Totem's also in his favor, so it's like a 50-50 totem roll there to be able to protect the Manatide, which at the end of the day, if you win that 50-50, that's absolutely nuts, because you get to save very precious resources in that of Hex, which doesn't have the most amount of targets in the matchup, but we do know Sinto is running, you know, one extra threat in his deck, and that is Ragnaros, which is something you're going to want to turn into a frog. Yeah, exactly. And what this does as well, I don't mind this play in general, because even if you whiff on the totem, well, if this Totem Golem kills the Manatide,
kind of sucks because you lose the card draw, but it's leaving up a Totem Golem and a Tunnel Trog. So, you know, you're still going to be quite ahead, and you can leverage the power you've gained that turn to kill the Totem Golem and then get ahead again. So, Sintolol going for his second mana tide of the game to, again, just try and continue into the card draw, be able to pull ahead in the match. And you know what? Lightning Storm's a pretty good draw as well. It's probably one of the best draws he could get. As you said, the matchup normally revolves around who can clear and then not be cleared in return, right?
Yeah, so usually you don't want to be the first one storming, though, because if you storm first, then your opponent storms second, then you would storm third, then your opponent storms fourth, and then you have to storm, you know, the last time.
There's too many storms for me, Fiber. I've lost track already.
And then your opponent storms the sixth time and then takes the board back, and you don't have the seventh storm.
Yeah, it can get a little bit rough.
You just run out of board clears and you just get plowed over at that point.
Yeah, and we see the thing from below come down again, which is just yet another card that helps Shaman flood the board so quickly. It's kind of crazy. And this is super awkward because with that thing from below, there's no great way to clear it off now, because even with the spell power Storm, it's not going to be enough even if it high rolls to be able to kill the 5 health. There's
like the Hail Mary Fire Elemental. Tell them you're going to storm and just you know, hit it on the 5/5 and say go. And then next turn, try and get the Blood Mage Thalnos plus Totem, and hope maybe you get the Spell Power Totem so you don't have to high roll as much, and then play the Lightning Storm out there to try and get the full board sweep. You would signal that you're playing the Storm, but it would be one of the only ways that you can kind of set up for a full board clear here. Other than that, you can just kind of play the Drake and ride off the top of your deck. So Sinto doesn't really want to signal the fact that a storm's coming, and is just going to be, you know, developing a pretty high power minion. Forces an answer from Bunnyhoppor, of course, and maybe Bunnyhoppor trades the 5/5 in because it's a juicy value trade and gets kind of punished for that. But I doubt Bunnyhoppor's going to trade that 5/5 in. I think Storm is very much on his mind, and he wants to try and play around it to the best of his ability.
Yeah, as you said, it's the only way you can really fall behind or get ahead in the game is the huge AoE and leverage that the Shaman has available. And Bunnyhoppor now has the choice of either going a little bit heavier onto the board with bigger minions, but without being able to bank on the initial Thunderbluff value. Whenever you play Thunderbluff, 1, you want totems down, and 2, you want to be able to hero power the same turn as well. So I imagine we're just going to see quite a light turn from Bunnyhoppor now and just continue to pile on the pressure that he's already got.
It's going to be a pretty aggressive turn. We got this
Flame Totem. Okay.
We got this Argent Horse Rider. You can trade in both of these totems, play around Storm as much as possible. He didn't even face tank the Drake. He just got rid of the totem straight up to play around Storm as aggressively as he possibly could and push as much damage as possible while doing so.
Not the best reaction from Sintolol, though. He's like,
he knows he's
that was a lot of damage.
Yeah,
damn it.
he knows he's screwed when he saw that play. That is a beautiful play from Bunnyhoppor. Just navigates perfectly around Storm and basically sets up a checkmate against Sintolol. There's not much he can do in this situation. Now he needs some sort of Feral Spirits turn, and he just doesn't have it in the cards.
Yep, that was a pretty impressive play overall from Bunnyhoppor there.